manly.
I didn't know you could flex them that well. That's pretty
Oh, I
impressive.
can.
Oh, we're live. We're flexing and we're live.
Well, I still got to ask the question. Do you do those Kegel exercises or is that glute to keep it tight?
No, it's natural.
Just naturally born with stretching buttocks. I like that. That's not many men.
Viking.
It has to be the Viking in you. Okay. I respect that. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday night book club, Game of Thrones book club. We're going through a Song of Ice and Fire books, starting with a Game of Thrones. We are chapter, I think I might have named this one wrong, but it's chapter 52 through 54. We have Jon 7, Bran 6, Dany 6 we're going through tonight. And with me tonight.
Almost 666.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. 7666 is his cousin.
Yeah, this is like the neighbor of the beast.
Right, but it's the neighbor, like Bruce Beelzebub. You know, he never got like all the fame his brother got.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So with us tonight, we have Miss Martin Muses. Hello.
Hello.
And how are you this fine evening?
Oh, well, getting ready to talk some Thrones.
Yeah, I am excited. I am. And we have the great, the one and only, the man, the myth. I'm trying to get to the picture so I can put it up. Stannis Stig Kenobi Baratheon.
First of my name, Lord of Dragonstone, Master of Ships, King of Westeros, Lord of Storms and King of the Andals, the Rhoynar and the First Man, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, Protector of the Realm. All who deny that are my foes. Let no man claim ignorance as a defense. They'll bend the knee or I'll destroy them. Isn't that right, Sir Davos?
He's the king of the north. That's all I can do. All right.
The red woman agrees.
All right. And let's see who's in the chat. All right. We do have Lady Toriel, and she was going to try to make it here tonight. She's having some issues with her connection. I almost want to, like, when she comes on, just see from where we're starting on that week all the way to the beginning of the book, what she has picked up. I'm telling you, she like finds things that we were just talking about, finds things that none of us pick up on, at least not on the first couple of reads. So that's impressive.
She snoops better than us.
Yeah, she's like Nancy Drew. Is it Nancy Drew? Yeah, right. Yeah, or the Hardy Boys. I'm going really.
I bet you she's wearing a Macintosh and she has a small gun and a hat.
Dun-dun.
And a flashlight.
Yeah, flashlight and like a big magnifying glass. You know?
Yeah, and really bad disguises.
Really bad disguises. Hey, if it works, it works. And who else is in the chat? We have Tina. How are you tonight? Tina became one of my first ever Sporking members on my YouTube page, and that is open to everybody. There's 3 tiers. You can be a member for as low as $2 a month, the price of a Walton's Best Coffee without the enema. That's the $5 one. But you'll get access to members only live streams, members only chats, and other things I put in there at some point. But thank you for the support. I really appreciate that. Brutal Morningwood, right on. What's good in the woods? He knows what's up. McKinney 90. Hello and welcome to the GOT Book Club on your Wednesday afternoon. Today we will be covering, I did write it wrong. It's chapter 52 through 54. If you guys are enjoying these deep dives into GOT books, then smash that like button. McKinney, you are getting really damn good at this. He's like really enjoying being a mod. I think Tommy's in trouble. We have Storyman Jack. Everybody else knows him as BD Lucas. That's Big Dick Lucas. There goes my monetization on this stream. How are you, my buddy? And
you should have me say the dirty words because nothing happens when I say that.
I know you get away with everything.
Yeah.
Oh, sporkers. Well, it's really like it's sporks with a Z. Sporkers. But yeah, I probably stuttered. And Toxic Man Flu, Sporky News Podcast. Hi. See, you didn't even have to do a super chat and I still read it. So yeah, even though I screwed up the chapters, we are going over chapters 52 through 54, one of which I think is one of the bigger chapters in the book and is one of the only chapters in a Game of Thrones with actual fantasy elements actually happening. What do you think, Stig? And Miss Martin Muse. Is there Muses? Is there if I call you Teresa? I've been saying it.
Oh yeah,
live streams and I don't.
Oh shoot. Yes, go ahead and call me Teresa. Yes, most people call me Teresa. That's just the name of my channel.
I thought about that after our last one. I'm like, I hope people call her that, and I haven't just been like doxing her. So good. Okay. So what do you guys think about that?
You look up Teresa Martin, you'll find a basilica in France. Let me just put it to you that way. No worries there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But seriously, what do you think in this book, Game of Thrones? It's considered high fantasy, but there is barely any fantasy elements in this.
No, it's not high fantasy. High fantasy has elves, dwarves, orcs, and stuff like that.
So what would you call it?
Low fantasy. It's certainly epic fantasy because epic will imply many intertwining stories. It's not about epic battles. It's about the width of the story.
Okay.
And the complexity. That's epic. It's low fantasy because everything in it, except for a few things, are from real life, basically. The White Walkers, some of the magic, well, all of the magic, to be fair, and the dragons. That's the only fantasy element there is.
Yeah, I mean, you get some warlocks, you get some other stuff, but in this first book, it is. You're exactly right. It's the fire and the ice. That's it. Dragons. And the White Walkers and the Whites. First time I think I've seen this name in the chat. Free Folk of Fandom with your host, Jarbo.
Jarboy.
Jarboy. Thank you for stopping in, man. Welcome to your Sprockets. Would you like to touch my monkey? Touch it. Love it. Anybody remember that from Saturday night? No?
I do. I'm a little scared. Yeah.
This is my dance club. Sprockets. Okay. Toxic Man Flu. No rear entry on the coffee for McKinney. Yeah. I mean, if for the $5 you get the whole Walton's Best. Thanks for stopping by. All right. So we'll call it, I guess we call it epic low fantasy. What do you think, Teresa?
Epic low fantasy. I think that's a good way of putting it. Cause I almost also think of it as almost like history, but history with a little bit of dragons now and then.
Yeah. I almost feel like if Martin wrote this before Tolkien would be as influenced by Martin as Martin is now to Tolkien.
Yeah, you know they're both from the same street, really.
Right.
And if you look at the Lord of the Rings, right? Magic is very low key because Gandalf doesn't run around tossing fireballs and all kinds of stuff. He uses some light spells now and again.
Right.
And the only magic in it is the ring, but that's more like a possessed thing, isn't it?
Right.
Ooh.
And other than that, you have all the creatures from mythology, basically elves, dwarves, orcs, stuff like that. Other than and the Ents, but the world functions like our world with that addition.
Right. Now take Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time has more. I've only read the first one, but that's high all fantasy. Yeah. Right. And what I do like to see is the consequence in those books, the use of, but I got to get back into that series. After we're done with this, we might have to go through those. It's only 14 books. It'll take us like 6
only
years.
14 books, about as thick as the Game of Thrones books.
I was about to say, we'll all be in our retirement home by the time.
Yeah.
See in 2050.
Yeah, you got a point there. I mean, it's taken us forever to get through Game of Thrones, and I'm loving it though. So whatever. What's up? Is it Zachariah 315 always saying hello to me in every chat? So hello to you, sir. So we're gonna start with John 7. Okay. And Stig, you're going to give us the summary of it. If anybody wants to know, real quick, Stig. Okay, go ahead, Muddy.
Oh, no, just.
No, I was just. I do this to you all the time. I'm so sorry. All I was going to say is my usual Westeros.org is where we usually get our summaries. So I'm giving them a shout out so no one thinks we're plagiarizing. All right, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, this is going to take a while because I couldn't shorten it because everything in this is, all the details are important. So I'm going to read for like 10 minutes or less. I don't know.
Story
Anyway.
John Story time with Wig. Stig. I said Wig. All right.
I don't have the reading voice Jayne has, but you have to make do.
You're pretty sultry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, with the hounds being useless, Ghost has led the party up to the bodies of 2 rangers. The area makes both the hounds and the horses nervous, and even John feels uncomfortable. Sir Jeremy Ricker identifies the bodies as Othor and Jafer Flowers, 2 of Benjen Stark's men. It was Jafer's right hand that Ghost brought to John in the Weirdwood Grove. The corpse's remaining hand is as black as the cloak he wears. Both of the corpses have the same pale skin, black hands, and staring blue eyes. Remarking that they are only 2 of the 6 men Benjen took with him, Lord Commander Mormont asks Sir Jeremy how 2 men could die so close to the wall without the rangers knowing. Othor even wears a hunting horn. Sir Jeremy insists that no horn was blown, or it would have been heard. He goes on to complain that he does not have sufficient men to patrol and mentions the Lord Commander's own order to stay close to the wall following Benjen's disappearance. Mormont asks how the man died. A quick examination shows that Jafer was killed by an axe blow to the neck, and that Othor is riddled with wounds. The old forester Daiwan suggests that Othor was known to carry an axe. Sir Jeremy points out that the wildlings carry axes as well, suggesting it to be the work of Mance Rayder, which Mormont finds questionable so close to the wall. Sir Jeremy asks who else it could have been. John knows the answer, they all do, but the others have been gone for 8,000 years, if they ever existed at all. Mormont declares that if Benjen had been attacked so close to Castle Black, he would have returned for more men before going after the attackers. Sir Jeremy suggests that sometime in the 6 months that Benjen has been gone, his party might have been attacked by wildlings, and that Othor and Jafer were the only last survivors. To support this claim, the knight points out that the 2 bodies cannot have been dead for more than a day. Sam speaks up. The fat boy is present to be the eyes of blind Maester Aemon, but John has had to force the cowardly boy to even look at the bodies. Now Sam insists that Sir Jeremy is wrong about the bodies. At the Lord Commander's urging, Sam points out that the blood in the corpse's veins is dry and crusty, as if they had been dead for a long time. However, the bodies do not stink and have not begun to decompose. They are also untouched by maggots and scavengers. Suspicious of the untouched nature of the corpses, Mormont orders Chet to bring one of the hounds closer. But no matter how hard he tries, the hound fights to stay away from the bodies. In addition, Sam points out that there are no pools of blood to indicate the men were killed there, indicating that the bodies have been moved. The old forester Daiwan and Sir Jeremy also note that they do not recall either Othor or Jafer having blue eyes. Several of the other rangers urge that the body should be burned, but the Lord Commander wants Maester Aemon to examine them further. It proves impossible to tie the bodies to the horses, who panic at their proximity to the corpses, so they are carried back on crude slings. Lord Commander Mormont orders Sir Jeremy to search the area for 10 leagues around, using hunters and foresters if he does not have enough men. If Benjen or any more of his men are still around, he will have them found. And if there is anyone else around, he will have them found as well. As they ride back, John follows the Lord Commander and finds that it's too warm, with the wall weeping copiously. The weather is called by the old man Spirit Summer, when the season is giving up its ghosts. This means winter is coming, and a long summer means a long winter. John thinks back to the stories that old Nan told of the others coming riding in the dark, and everything, including cities, falling before them, and how they feed their servants on the flesh of human children. So they eat small meals. When they finally see the wall, Lord Commander Mormont calls for Sam and compliments him, telling him that he is fat but not stupid. When they arrive at the gate, the Lord Commander is told by Bow and Marsh, the Lord Steward, that there has been a raven. Mormont orders the bodies put in the storage room. Meanwhile, John notices everyone is looking at him and knows something is wrong. John searches out his friends, and Pip tells him that King Robert is dead. John wonders if his father will now return to Winterfell, and decides that when he visits, he will ask for the truth about his mother. His friends ask about the bodies, but John only says they were queer. As he walks to the Lord Commander's tower, John notices the stairs again, and when he arrives, he is told that Mormont wants to see him. When he enters, Mormont surprises him with an offer of wine and asks him to sit. John states that it is grievous news about his father and the king, which Mormont confirms. The Lord Commander tells John that it is said that the king loved to hunt, and that the things we love destroy us every time. Then he then states that if it had not been for the love of a woman, his son Jorah would not have thought to sell poachers into slavery. John does not understand, but the Lord Commander gives no answer, only a repeated order to sit and drink. We're halfway through. John is told that his father has been imprisoned as a traitor for plotting with Robert's brothers to deny the throne to Prince Joffrey. The Lord Commander explains that he plans to use his contacts in King's Landing to ensure that Eddard is allowed to take the Black. They could use men of Eddard's ability on the wall. John thinks it would be a terrible injustice to strip his father of Winterfell, but knows it would be preferable to death. Then he remembers Joffrey mocking Robb Stark and Sir Roderick Cassel, and asks if the king will listen. Mormont replies that Joffrey may listen to his mother, though it is too bad Tyrion Lannister is not there. Mormont declares that it is a bad thing that Jon's mother, meaning Catelyn, took Tyrion captive, but Jon haughtily reminds him that Catelyn Stark is not his mother. Jon then asks about his sisters, and Mormont promises to ask about them. Then Mormont states that he hopes Jon is not going to do anything stupid. His duty is now here, and his old life ended when he took the Black. He then dismisses Jon, telling him that he can help write the letter the next day. Jon, Ghost, and Mormont's Raven confronts the White. Sorry. I had copied something. This is a description of a picture. Okay. Spoilers.
Spoiler warning.
Despite Mormont's words, Jon remains convinced the Starks are his family and wonders how it cannot be his concern. He also wonders whether his father could truly be a traitor. At the evening meal, Jon realizes that everyone knows about his father's arrest. When his friends rally to him, and assure him that they do not believe the stories. John realizes that they are now his brothers as much as Rob, Bran, and Rickon. Then John hears Sir Alistair mocking both John and his father, probably calling him a bastard. In the blink of an eye, John jumps over to the table and attacks Sir Alistair with a knife. But his friends hold him back, and he is marched to his sleeping cell. Later, Mormont visits him and reminds John that he told him not to do anything stupid. Now the high officers must meet to decide his fate. A guard is left at his door, and his friends are not permitted to visit him, though Ghost is allowed to stay. That night, John wakes to Ghosts scratching at the door, and it is very cold. When he opens his door, John finds his door guard dead, and he hears noises coming from the Lord Commander's chamber. Taking the dead guard's sword, John ascends to the Lord Commander's chamber, where he finds the door open and Mormont's raven is squawking. He sees the shadow of a man in black, with icy blue eyes, going into the Lord Commander's sleeping chamber. Ghost attacks the man, and John pulls down the curtains so that he can see. The man has his black hands around Ghost's throat. John cuts off an arm with his sword, and Ghost is able to wrench free. The next stroke cuts halfway through the man's face, and now John recognizes Othor. The severed hand claws at his calf, and John pulls it off. Ghost attacks the hand while John strikes the undead man in the neck, but Othor slams into him, knocking him down. In the fall, John loses his sword. Othor is on top of John, attempting to choke him, but is finally pulled away by Ghost. As he regains his feet, John spots the Lord Commander standing naked in the doorway with an oil lamp as the hand approaches him. John grabs the oil lamp from the Lord Commander and throws it on the drapes, setting them afire. Then John grabs the burning drapes and throws them onto Othor, praying that the white will burn. And it does. The end.
Worth every minute of that. You had to read it.
What happened?
A whole, I mean, that is one of the most, not just like something happening, but multiple things happening in one chapter that we'll get in a Game of Thrones. So why don't we start with you, Teresa? What did you take away? What was like the biggest thing you took away from that chapter? We'll start with, or we could just start from like where it began. It's up to you.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, I mean, everything that happened where we first hear about Mance Rayder. I think I was mistaken. I thought it was Casper, but it was Mance Rayder, and the white character. I don't know. All I can say is they're really moving forward on the story, and like 3 major events happen in this chapter. Am I correct on that? That we found out a lot about the white things, or with the Rangers, that John lost his crap and nearly, got himself in goodness knows what kind of trouble. Luckily for him, though, the creepy whites came and attacked. So now we know that they know that the whites are real, and they're coming to get him.
Right. I like how you said that. They know they're real, because like at the beginning of the chapter, they're all noticing that like the corpses don't have their regular colored eyes, but no man wants to be the one to say it. Like his eyes were brown. No one wants to say, this kind of reminds us of that old legend. No one wanted to be the first one, and now they can't deny it. What do you think about when you think about this chapter, Stig?
A lot of exposition in a way about the others, or rather the whites, which seems to be the soldiers of the others. I think this whole thing was planned, because the dead Rangers are clearly undead when they're found, right?
Right.
and they basically just lay down because they're activated, as we can tell by the blue eyes.
Right. And they don't have to breathe, so
Yeah.
you're not going to notice
They're
that.
just laying still, waiting for them to be found so they can be taken across through the wall. Seems to be the case, right? What I don't understand though is why was one of them missing a hand? How did that happen? Like they say that these guys could have been killed at least 6 months ago because they were part of Vengeance party, but the whites don't decompose like normal corpses. It's basically just when you get turned into a white, you stay as you are, right?
Right. Also, they are up in the north beyond the walls, so it's much colder too. But you're right. There's like a magical part of it that keeps them from decomposing.
It stops the decomposing process, which spoiler, it might get into in later books.
Right.
But it's also interesting that when the white attacks the Lord Commander, that's when the Raven starts yapping, which is it's almost like it's guiding the other or cheering him on, because you'd think the Raven would just go berserk if a white enters the bedroom and basically wake the Lord Commander up, but he is surprised to see the whole thing even after the racket,
right?
So he had no warning of it. So I'm thinking
I want to go back to one. Oh, go ahead.
I'm thinking the Raven is involved. He's a complicit in this thing. Also, when they're talking about the corpses, we know that these Rangers were not killed by the others, because the others use these thin ice swords, right? It's clear that one of them killed the other, though, with an axe. That seems to be a fair bet.
Right.
So one of them was turned undead before the other, but the other one has a bunch of holes in him, though. So I'm wondering, could it have been pecked to bits by ravens, or could it have been stabbed repeatedly by a thin blade? I don't know. Or could it have been arrows that have been pulled out later?
My question is this, real quick. Do you think that whoever or whatever killed them chopped off one of the arms, knowing or hoping Ghost would get it? Like Ghost, isn't it kind of the chapter before? It's almost like it was perfect that Ghost could walk over with an arm in his mouth,
Yeah, it's what if someone controlled Ghost?
Right.
Ooh.
Right.
Like, because if you're, oh shit, I can't talk about that. It's later. But there's other times when Ghost just finds something willy-nilly, seemingly.
Right.
I'm thinking
the show changed.
Yeah. Well, the show changed a lot of stuff, but
yeah, it did.
It's worth noting that something's off about that Raven, because that Raven isn't helping,
or it's exactly,
or it is helping someone else. I don't know.
It could be,
but yeah, and like they said, 2 people returned undead. Where are the others? There was supposed to be 6, and one of them has a horn, and nobody's heard a horn. So he was not killed near the wall, clearly. Then he would have used the horn, and whoever's on the wall would have heard it.
Right.
So he was
there's
dead
a couple
before
things that. Right. And it happened quickly. So either they got him from far away, you know what I mean? Or he got surprised and scared. But
or
whatever got him.
Or someone targeted the guy with a horn, with arrows.
Got him quick.
Picked him up first.
Right. That too. An intelligent. Right. So real quick, because there's a lot of people coming in right now, and I'm guessing Nerdrotic stream ended. I don't see her first message, but I see people saying hello to Miss Sarcastic Nerd, one of my favorite YouTubers and funniest women out there. Hello. And Rennie, hello, how are you? Time Profit, how are you doing, guys? Thank you for stopping in, everybody. Tommy, of course. Once again, please hit like, share, comment. My notifications aren't going out to everybody. Small channel, so I need your help getting it out there. Also, feel free to become a member today. There's 3 different tiers. I don't know how to sell this because I feel corny asking. Go ahead if you'll get some private super chats or private streams with just members and stuff like that. So I was writing some notes too. Teresa, because he said like it was one of these informative chapters. I think this is almost like the first time Jorah that Mormont speaks about his son Jorah. And I don't know if, even though they have the same last name, I don't know if I connected it right away when I read it. But you're learning more about like his family history, why he's there, what did you take from like any of that type of stuff? John's dream. I mean, right.
Oh, that
was John's dream was insane.
Yeah, I was really struck by what you just said about Mormon. Yeah, that he said that he loved his wife too much, and that's what got him into trouble. Because we knew that he'd gotten busted, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, he had told Danny some of that some of that was something that he knew
a little bit. And I want to say maybe in the next Danny chapter, he brings up more of it. I can't remember exactly. I mean, we did hear it was poaching, selling people, but I don't think we learned about the relationship between him and his wife at all.
No. Yeah. And now we know that it was part of it, not necessarily the details. Right. And I guess the fact that we do forget that it's kind of the whole Days of Our Lives thing going on where everyone is related to everybody.
Right. It's like an interconnection.
Yeah.
Like a tree root type of system, if you will. But what do you think about John's reaction to Catelyn being called his mom?
Well, yeah. That he's not his mother.
Yep. And he sides with Tyrion there,
yep.
In this moment. And I've heard people like, oh, John, I felt bad for Catelyn during that. Why would John do that? Well, that woman, Cat, treated him like second class, maybe even like a third class citizen his whole life. Tyrion treated him like a man, so why wouldn't he side with Tyrion?
Exactly. And anyone with a brain knows that it was dumb what she did.
Yep.
No, no, absolutely. But I also liked, maybe tied to that, is just how much it all just really showed that he was no longer a part of that family. The Night's Watch were now his family.
And you saw that bond in this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
You almost feel like, in a way, the Night's Watch was like a group of like just outlaws and thieves and rapists and things like that. But now with John up there and the way he protected Sam and the way people started following, they have become a brotherhood.
Yeah.
More than probably it has been up there in a very long time.
Yeah. A band of brothers. Literally and figuratively.
Yep. Lady Toriel says here, John threw the lamp and curtains in desperation. I know, because in that moment, I believe he throws it. He's like, please burn. Please let them burn. Like he doesn't know if it's going to work, but he throws it anyways. And jackpot. I also like in this chapter when John thinks of, right off the rip, when he hears the news about his father, thinks about his sisters, both Sansa and Arya. And just 2 chapters ago, Sansa didn't think about either one of them.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that just goes to show you the type of people you're dealing with.
Well, it's like John is part of the pack. Sansa isn't.
Right.
And Sansa doesn't have a wolf.
And I was thinking that too, right? She doesn't have a wolf, so how can she be part of a pack?
Exactly.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're up, Rennie. There was a couple other things. You get to meet the new first ranger, Sir. Is it Jeremy or Jeremiah or Gemma? What I thought it was like a Jeremy, but he seems like an angry fella.
It says Jeremy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Here's the thing nobody's talking about. They're far north. They're against an ice wall.
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell does the Lord Commander sleep naked?
Good question. Good.
Well, maybe
Question
that's
I don't
just
think I
how
need
he
an
likes
answer
it.
from. Right. Yeah, but good question. Oh wow, a $2 super chat that didn't show up at the top of my list. From the great Miss Sarcastic Nerd, $2.50. She doesn't say anything, but
She just stares accusingly.
Thank you.
Okay.
I wanted to give a little bit back. I was giving a little bit back. Now she's amazing. She has some great chill streams and stuff like that. Check her out. Thank you very much. And if I missed any other super chats, let me know. It's not popping up on this for some reason.
Teresa and I were on Mrs. Stream earlier today.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah, we get around.
You guys are just slutty. I love it. Just pimping yourselves out. Thank you for coming back to me, though. I love you guys. Now, at the beginning of this, you get that Jeremy, and he's being questioned by Mormont, and almost you get the sense that people are starting now all of a sudden to question Mormont's decision making. Like, if you allowed us to go a little farther away from the wall, if you let us do this or that, you kind of see some cracks in his leadership in a way. I don't know if you guys picked up on that, but that's kind of something I saw too.
Yeah, he's doing a case of I told you so.
Right.
But hindsight is 2020.
Yeah.
So
It
it's
always
easier
is.
to do. I mean, why would anyone make plans regarding the others or something
Mm-hmm.
if they've been gone for 8,000 years? I mean, if you think about it, if someone told us there were elves 8,000 years ago, we wouldn't believe it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they haven't been seen.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
it's the
crazy.
equivalent of there's vampires. Why don't you believe that they're really here? And you're like, dudes, they're just stories.
Right.
No.
Even if you had proof in front of you, it took corpses waking up and attacking them, even though they knew these guys' eyes, eye color changing. And I'm sorry, when people die, their eyes don't change color like that. So it's kind of interesting that they picked up on that. But there was a couple other things I wrote down too. John, now, okay, so chapter before we get Ghost bringing the dead arm. And then in this chapter, Ghost warns him that this is about to happen.
Yeah, and I think Toriel pointed something out when Ghost walks past the weirwood tree.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost has red eyes and a white face, and it looks exactly like the weirwood tree, right? Like it's
Right.
related to the tree,
Mm-hmm.
almost. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. I think someone controlled Ghost and went to fetch that hand.
Right, that's what I was saying before. It was convenient that hand was chopped off. It was convenient that Ghost could pick that hand up and bring it back to the weirwood tree just in time for all of them to see that.
Yeah, and who chopped it off?
Who? Now, the whites, we don't really see a lot of the whites yet in the books. I don't know if a white can, they're being controlled, most likely, if they could use weapons or not, but I've been wondering about that too. Could have white have done this?
The two rangers
Mm-hmm.
that they find dead, they don't have weapons because they point out that Othor used to have an axe.
Right.
That was like his weapon of choice, but it's not there, I think.
Right.
And
so could they have been killed?
Yeah, and so the whites didn't chop the hand of the other, right?
Right.
So I'm thinking I'm thinking one of the others brought the two whites there, laid them down, chopped off a hand as bait,
Right.
and then something controlled Ghost and had Ghost go fetch the hand, and then they found the other corpses.
Okay, yeah. So they do, but now the crow I feel like is maybe not okay. So the raven I feel like is not part on the good team. It seems to know more, or it could be like the three-eyed raven, because there's times where he says, snow, like he king and stuff like that. But do you think Ghost is being controlled by a positive or negative force in this world?
Well,
to the world of men.
I think, it certainly didn't have a. It could have had a negative effect, but maybe it was pulling the strings so John would do what he did.
So John could also learn the truth.
So
I'm wondering.
So John could rise in the ranks on Castle Black. And for reasons I can't tell you today because it's non-spoiler, but it has to do with one of my theories about future John.
Right. We'll hold off on that one.
Yeah.
Lorena Creole up in this place. One of my partners in crime on Rogue Entertainment. Hello. Thank you for stopping in. I think you're on vacation and you even stopped in. Thank you so much.
That's so sweet.
That is really sweet of her. She's amazing. She rocks. So let's see what I want to see what Sam has to say. Sam, the three-eyed raven's pair of eyes at the wall. Yeah, I don't know if it's Ghost or the Ravens though. Like I feel like Ghost got sent when Ghost was found as a pup. John heard him across the bridge, yet Ghost doesn't make any sounds. Like even in that moment, right? And it's in Bran's chapter where Bran's like, I heard the rustling of the leaves and the wind, but I did not hear anything else. But John, from a mute animal, heard it from across. Something told John to go back. Something he heard. Something was speaking within in his mind. And there's a part in this chapter where John hears a voice in his head talking bad about Caitlin, or Catelyn. And I wonder if it's just his, him thinking that, or someone's reminding him like, oh yeah, don't forget how she treated you. Cause he said, it states like it's a different voice, a little voice in my head, so it could easily be not him actually thinking it.
Yeah. There's lots of voices in people's heads lately, aren't there?
Yeah.
Same thing happened to Arya.
Yeah. And it's not like they're just thinking to themselves. They hear it as like a separate thing altogether. So yeah, that's an interesting take. And then the Mormont part, could have Ghost brought the arm, they brought him through the wall. Ghost notifies John so John can save Mormont and move up the ranks, like you said. I think that's really a really good theory right there, that Ghost is guiding John. Somebody is guiding John to rise up the ranks of the Night's Watch. And for what reason, though?
The plot thickens. Either that or it's one heck of a smart dog that is definitely a good boy looking after his owner.
Boy. Yeah. You left him in Winterfell, you jerk, when you went south in the show. One other thing was we find out it's been 6 months since Benjen Stark went missing. That's like the first time I feel like we got a real solid timeline on anything happening. Yeah. So that was helpful.
Actually been quite a time skip at the wall so far.
Now, for people out there that don't know this, George has said not every chapter is chronological. They could be happening at the same time. One chapter could be ahead of the chapter ahead of it. He doesn't go too crazy out of whack, but they're not all in the same timeline. So that also makes it a little tougher to follow. A little, Thanks, George.
To be fair, though, most of the chapters, right? It doesn't matter if it's 2 weeks before the other because they're not related anyway.
Right. Like physically not. They're not in the same place or anything.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter if if a John chapters happens, even though it's before a Tyrion chapter, and the Tyrion chapter actually happened 2 weeks before the John chapter. It doesn't matter.
Right. It doesn't really. You could tell some of this isn't chronological because he's finding out about, the death of King Robert. That just happened a couple, chapters ago. So think about how long a raven would take to get up to the wall. So it's probably a few, maybe even a week after that. But there are times, I believe it's between book 4 and 5, where he's jumping around because of the way he wrote that book.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
It's basically when it comes to book 4, book 4 is half of the first 2/3 of book 5. So that those 2 bits should have been the same book. Right.
The beginning chapters in book 5 should have been in book 4. You're saying, right?
Yeah, I think it was supposed to. We only got book 4 the way we did because George was finished with those chapters, so he could release a book, which I think he should have done with book 6 as well. But that's another thing.
Oh, but, amen, brother. On that,
we're gonna have a little update on that. Yeah, when we're done with these chapters, I'm just gonna say a quick blurb on his August 15th not a blog post. He's really starting to piss me off. Sam says, when you're dealing with concurrent timelines, you do your best to put it in order that makes the most sense. What were you going to say, Teresa? You had something, didn't you?
Oh, no, I was just I'm sorry. I'll save it. But I was just saying I'm turning into the Church of Hate. But I'll save it. I'll save it.
I know. We'll talk about it at the end. But all I could say is I've went from a passionate defender to someone now that I can understand why, like, Gary at Nerdrotic feels the way he does. And it goes with me, switches day by day. 1 minute I'm Stig saying, give him all the time in the world. Let him write his masterpiece. And the other times I'm like, give me my goddamn book,
Well,
so
here's the thing. Let's say book 6 is going to be out in 2 years, right? That's when it comes out. That's 2 years where you can read at least another big fantasy series. I mean, there's more than one fantasy series out there.
Yeah, and we could read a fantasy series where the guy gives an F and finishes it instead of teasing us. See, I think he's just messing with us now. He does not have to give those updates. He could just STF you and quit making promises he's not going to keep. But yeah,
well, to be fair, he didn't give any kind of promise this time.
Yes, sir, he did. That whole thing about New Zealand, the end of July.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago. But I mean, this time,
right?
In the last couple of blogs,
let's shelve it. Hold on, we're gonna shelve that, and we're gonna come back to that, and we can get as angry as we want. Chat, build up your rage about it or your defense. Towards the end, I want to hear what you guys feel about George and his writing. I know that he is one of the greatest writers I've ever read, but he does piss me off. Anything left in this chapter, guys? I mean, there's so much.
Yeah, this is an information and a theory chapter, right? Because it's full of stuff full of clues, right?
It's almost also like an action.
Yeah, it's almost like a little crime clue thing going on.
Yep.
It's what killed these guys? When did it happen? You know, all that stuff.
Right.
So, and it's probably one of those chapters you want to reread later on when other things happen.
Right. You tend to want to come back to this one.
Yeah.
This is one of those that you'll pick up a little. There's a few chapters like that in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's very rereadable.
I don't know about that, Sam, but we'll get to that. he may be trolling us. Okay, before I get sucked into that realm, anything left on this one, or should I start the next synopsis? All right, I'm going to start the next one. Tell me if I go robotic. Just say it out loud, guys, because I'll be reading and won't see you typing it in the private chat. Even though I'm using my phone, for some reason, when I read, it goes robotic. I have no freaking clue. All right. Bran watches from a guard turret with the far eye of Master Ludwin or Lewin as the Karstark's forces arrive at Winterfell. Hold on one second. I got to fix my headphones. Sorry about that, people. I am a professional. All right. The Karstark's forces arrive at Winterfell. When Robb heard the news that their father, Lord Eddard, had been taken captive in King's Landing, he called the Stark bannermen together for war. The Karstarks are the last to arrive. 300 horsemen and near 2,000 foot, led by Rickard Karstark and his 3 sons ride with him. The Karstarks are said to have Stark blood in them, going back hundreds of years, but the fierce men do not look like Starks to Bran. Bran has not been allowed to leave the castle since the incident in the Wolf's Woods. Real quick reminder, that's where Bran was assaulted by some wildlings and Robb and Theon killed him and took Osha. Robb insists that there are no men available to guard him and is not Bran's argument that Summer will protect him is just not it. The incident in the Wolf's Wood shames Bran as he is not able to protect himself. Even Rickon would have been able to kick them. A year ago, he would have visited the winter town anyway, climbing over the walls, but now he can only watch with Maester Lewin and Hodor. Maester Lewin has taught Bran all the banners, and now he has faces to associate with them. Bran asks how many knights there are. Lewin tells Bran there are over 12,000 men, but only 300 knights because the North holds to the old gods, and the knights are anointed in a sept of the faith of the Seven. However, Lewin assures him a man's worth is not marked by a Sir before his name. Bran asks when they will leave and is told they must leave soon or countryside will be eaten clean. Robb has a long way to go and the fighting has started. More men will join Robb as he travels south. Bran tells Hodor that he does not want to watch anymore. Master Lewin reminds Bran that his brother is busy greeting the Karstarks, but Bran assures him that he wants to visit the Godswood. Hodor now carries Bran in a basket strapped to his back, an idea Lewin got from the basket used by the serving women to carry firewood. Being carried this way shames Bran, feeling like he's carried like a baby, and sometimes Hodor forgets he's on his back and smacks his head, Bran's head against doorways. When Bran exits the castle, there are Karstark men arriving. Some men mock him, but Bran has been warned of this by the Maester. His attitude is to let them mock since he does not want to stay in his bedroom. Bran calls for Summer and the Karstark horses reel as the direwolf goes by. Bran's in the Godwoods. He pulls himself off his seat using branches from the weirwood. Then he lets Hodor lower him down beside the water, say he wants to be alone with Summer. Bran has been finding himself drawn more to the heart tree. Now he takes comfort from its deep red eyes. The old gods are watching over him. He feels safe, and it gives him time to think, which he has been doing a lot recently. Bran prays for Robb not to go away, for safety of his family, and for Rickon to understand. Rickon has grown wild and violent since he learned that Robb was leaving. Once Rickon disappeared, and when he was finally found down in the crypts, the youngest Stark had slashed at the men with a sword, and Shaggy Dog bit Gage on the arm and took a chunk out of Micken's thigh. It took Robb and Grey Wind to bring Shaggy Dog under control. After the Farland chained Shaggy Dog in the kennel, and now Rickon cries even more. Lewin and Bran have both asked Robb to stay, but he refuses. He says he has no choice. Robb could send someone else to guard the neck. Robb responds was their father would not send others to die while he stayed behind the walls of Winterfell. Robb denies all who request being given supreme battle command. Many of the lords try to test Robb by making demands, but he is able to handle them much as his father did, bend them to his will. Even when anger flares, when Grey Umber demands the right to command, he drew his sword against Robb. Grey Wind immediately rips the dude's fingers off. But Robb reminds him drawing a sword against your Lord Bannerman is punishable by death, but he was just going to cut his meat. That night, Robb came to Bran's bedchambers, pale and shaken. Also told Bran that the most frightening Bannerman is Roose Bolton, who never says a word but only looks at him. When Bolton does this, all Robb can think of is the room in the Dreadfort where the Boltons hang the skin of their enemies. Bran states that this is only a story of old nuns, but then asks for confirmation. What else do we got here? He believes they're untrue. Then the letters from Sansa arrives. After Robb had read the letter, he crushed it. Sansa had said nothing of Arya and Robb asked what is wrong with her. Bran replies that Sansa has lost her wolf. Remember the day 4 of the guardsmen returned with the bones of Lady. They buried the bones in the lich yard with the faithful servants of Winterfell. She went south and only her bones returned, like Lord Rickon, Brandon Stark, and 200 men, and none returned. Now their father, Arya, Sansa, Jory, Cassell, Fat Tom have gone south and not come back. And later, mother, Sir Roderick left and haven't come back. Now Robb is going south. He's frightened. Bran prays. Bran is surprised by words from Osha, who is apparently able to move quietly in the shackles she has been wearing. She tells him that she can hear the gods answering him. When Summer comes around the pool to sniff her, she flinches. Bran calls Summer back, and Osha asks Osha whom he has not seen since she was taken captive, what she is doing here. The Spearwife replies that they're her gods too, and the only gods north of the wall. She also tells him a couple other things. She tells him Gage heard out to do prayer for time to time, blah, blah, blah. She offers to leave, but Bran asks her to stay. She tells him to open his ears, to which Bran replies that it is only the wind. Osha asks him who sends the wind, insisting that the old gods can see him and hear his words. Bran asks what they say. Osha replies that they are sad because they cannot help his brother in the south. The old gods have no power there because all the weirwoods were destroyed thousands of years ago. They cannot watch over his brother because there are no eyes. He's saddened, and then he hears Hodor, who arrives butt-ass naked from his bath in the hot springs. When Osha sees Hodor, she declares that his size denotes giant's blood in him. She's talking about his dong. Osha tells him that the maesters should ride beyond the wall. The giants sometimes breed with men beyond the wall, producing half-breeds, though it goes much worse on the woman that has sex with the giant. She then asks Bran if he knows what she's talking about, and he tells her it does, and he has seen animals mating. Jeez, this is a long one too. Osha confirms there are giants behind the wall. When men leave their fires, they often do not come back, or sometimes they come back as whites with blue eyes and cold black hands. Osha explains that she tried to tell Robb, Maester Luwin, and Theon Greyjoy of this, but they wouldn't listen to her. She asked Bran why else she would flee south in the company of those guys that she was with, because they're fools. She goes on to declare that Mance Rayder, once a sworn brother of the Night's Watch, thinks he can fight the whites. Osha states that she is unlike Mance in the north, from long line of the free folk. Osha laminates again that she cannot get Robb to listen, and Bran suggests that perhaps Robb would listen to him. Osha is dubious, but Bran gives a message. You tell him this, me lord. You tell him he's bound on marching the wrong way. It's north he should be taking his swords. North, not south. You got the car Starks. You hear them murmuring about him being broken. He whispers under his breath that he wants to be a knight, which Maester Luwin overhears. He tells Bran that some call his order the Knights of the Mine. Bran can forge a maester's chain at the Citadel. Bran states that he wants to learn magic and that the crow promised him to fly. Maester says they teach magic, but no one can. Replies the children of the forest could. Then he remembers what Osha promised and tells the Maester the threat in the north. He blows her off again. Maester Lewin says she's not right. 2 days later, Robb and his army march south. Robb tells Bran that now he must be the Lord Stark in Winterfell, who has never felt so little alone or scared. That's Bran. Bran remembers Osha's words. He is marching the wrong way. And blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's about it. Sorry that went on so long. Someone talk, because I need a drink. What did you guys think of that?
So much again. And was that the first time we heard Bran the Broken?
I was just about to say that. Yep.
And then, of course, it was so ruined by the TV show. It's like, what a dumb name for, him.
Horrific.
But Bran the Broken. I'd be like, shut up, Bran the Broken yourself. Poor little boy, but how cute how he's being carried around. Kind of reminds me, it sounded like the way that Luke would carry around Yoda on his back. On the Empire Strikes Back.
Except Luke wouldn't run Yoda's head into walls or doorways and stuff. I
picked up on something this time.
Oh, please tell.
When Bran lifts himself up from the basket, he does it by grabbing onto a weirwood tree branch.
Right.
Which I think might be very symbolic.
Kind of a hand up by the weirwoods?
Or using it to get out of his predicament, using it as a crutch.
Yeah.
Something to ponder, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think it was,
I love how Osha says, yeah. No, but you have a point there. We get a couple references to that. Like Osha almost doing a fairy, what's his name? The water dancer teacher.
Stereo.
Arya's, yeah. Almost doing something like he said, like you are, you might hear, but you're not listening. What do you hear? And he's like the wind, and who sends the wind? It's the old gods trying to talk to you. Like she's almost like Old Nan. What Osha and Old Nan say, and the Old Nan stuff from John's chapter 2, she is right, 100% right. Old Nan's stories are right. If you hear Old Nan or a story of Old Nan, you listen to what she says because it's George almost telling us the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always listen to the old ladies. They sound crazy at first, but they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, right.
Well, to be fair, she had also told Robb that the world was inside a giant, inside the giant's eye.
I love how Bran's response to that. Maybe it is.
I was about to say, how do you know?
Right. What movie is that from? So what you're saying, man, is we could just be, our universe could be like an atom in a giant, one of those things. Or like, I don't know. I really screwed that up. I'm not going to try again. Okay.
Or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those or Cheech and Chong or something. I don't know. What else happened? So you get to learn a lot of sigils, different houses. Everybody's testing Robb. So at least, I don't think this is a spoiler. Robb, let's just say, at least in this book, Robb doesn't have any POVs. So everything we hear about Robb is coming third person.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have Bran through a kid's eyes watching his older brother, who's not much older than him, 15 years old, coming up against all these lords trying to make their move on Winterfell. Really, it sounds like it. Like they know Ned's locked up. The oldest one is Robb. Who's there to stop him from taking command and this and that? And he knocks them all down. And then the Great John, one of the more famous moments in the show, where Grey Wind bites off his hand, like fingers. And Robb, instead of like saying he's sorry or anything, says, drawing your sword on your liege lord is, you could be hung for treason or beheaded for that. So he gives him that warning, like, I could do a lot worse right now to you. I'm letting you get away with this. But he is fearful of Roose Bolton. So you see the kid in him when he comes up to Bran's room. Like he comes up to Bran's room and he's white as a ghost and scared. So like in front of all the guys, he's Lord right now. He's Lord Rob Stark or Robert Stark, but he shows Bran his true self.
Yeah, he's just a little boy.
Just a little boy scared and wants his daddy. What else did you guys get out of this?
I loved the ending part when he's watching him Rob ride out, and he describes it and everyone was cheering. I got to admit, I kind of got the feels. I was like, oh, that's like really awesome. They're all riding out and with their horses and their banners, and they're gonna more people. The idea of more will follow us and find us and join us. I was like, I'm proud to be a Northerner.
I'm proud to be from Starkland,
where at least I know I don't kneel or
I don't kneel. Yeah, they don't. They don't kneel,
do they? Yeah.
No. Well, actually, one of the Starks did kneel to a Targaryen, but
long time ago.
Yeah, but that's okay. Well, we can forget that happened.
Yeah, well, you know what? That was a long time ago. 300 years.
Yeah,
forget about it. People.
It was a pansy anyway.
Oh my gosh,
Sallywagga. You got Grey Wind reacts to what Rob feels, because when other men come up to him and bark at Rob and try to take his position as leader, Grey Wind doesn't attack. It's not until Rob sees a sword being drawn. Rob must have felt, I need to defend myself. And what happens? Grey Wind reacts. So once again, you got that communication between Animal and Stark Child.
Yeah, and you also see it almost foreshadowed earlier with Rickon and the wolf.
Right. Yeah, there's and they talk about Rickon getting really wild and Shaggy Dog. I mean, it took Rob and Grey Wind to bring Shaggy Dog to heel, which is, is it the kid making the direwolf feral, or is the direwolf making the kid feral? I think more the kid making the direwolf feral.
In this case, yes.
Yeah.
But it's symbiotic relationship, I think.
Right. Yeah. I mean, who gives a kid a 3-headed direwolf and doesn't help train him? Jeez. Good parenting, Ned. Freaking idiot.
Well, and the poor little boy, he's a baby and his mom ditched him. That's the other thing. He's going wild because no one's even looking after him. You're like throwing food at him once or twice a day.
Mom ditched him. Right. Now Rob's
that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Yeah. He is not being looked after. He's a baby.
Right. So, we also get the letter. Oh my God, I almost forgot to bring this up. Teresa, we almost get the letter. We get the letter from Sansa.
Bitch.
The one she wrote a couple. I hate her too. Can we have a moment of just hatred for Sansa? Like you didn't realize you were just backstabbing your brother. Like pretty much that letter is a threat, and you're the threat they're holding against him.
Wow. Yeah, she couldn't be bothered to mention Arya.
No.
I mean, not even. Why not just go, hey, Arya is fine.
Yeah.
All she had to do, but she didn't give a damn.
But she didn't give a crap about Arya when everybody was getting killed. So I'm sorry. I know I'm not trying to spoil things, but I still can't seem to like our Sansa no matter what she goes through.
Yeah. She'll have to go through some serious redemption for us to start liking her again. I in the book, I think it was far more stark than it was in the TV show. Just how horrible and how terrible it made them all feel. I mean, my gosh.
Right. No, you're right.
And they're so worried about their father. What's going to happen to him? They probably know he's as good as dead.
Right. Well, in the show, isn't it? Kat is with Rob when they get the letter, and Kat is the one that says that's Cersei's hand. But we don't have that.
No, it Lewin says it
in the book. He says it.
Yeah, I think he says it on the
on the show.
Oh, on the show too. I thought it was Kat was with him. I'm probably wrong. Okay.
No, she's with him when he gets another message.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. Popping in to show love to my favorite sport, Culture Casino. Love you too, man. This dude is blowing up on YouTube. He is one of my panelists on Saturday Night News. Oh, I'm sorry, I changed the name. Saturday Night The Dump. Please make sure you guys, yeah, you like that? It's fandom news, but also, society type stuff, political a little bit, but mostly fandom. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit notifications. You can now be a member on Sporky News, so feel free to be a member. I already have 2 people, and I'm grateful. I'm just grateful that someone wanted to support me like that. So it's awesome. Stop floating my own boat and let's move on. What else? Do you think Sansa knew I mean, I know we saw her write it, but do you think she understood what that letter was doing? She just wanted people to like her.
She's just too dumb to be alive.
Yeah. Too dumb to live. Well, yeah, I think it was clear from the thing, the way she was like, I don't even know what to do. And Cersei's like, that's okay. I'll write it. I'll tell you what to write. And they even said that once she was done writing all the letters, she was exhausted and her hand hurt. Kid didn't know Jack.
No. And you know what bothers me though? That's on Ned and Kat.
Yep.
That's on them not teaching their kids, at least when they knew they were going to start going south. Look, this is how these people act. Like, it's not the North. And I love how they bring up the North doesn't believe in knights. We don't do knights. That's a Faith of the Seven thing.
You should have given that kid the belt years ago.
Oh
no. She was pampered if you really think about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. She was definitely.
I mean, she's how old is she? 9? Sansa's 9.
She's 11.
No, I think she's 11. Arya.
Arya's
9 or 8.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Well, if you're 11, you can take at least one punch to the throat per week.
Oh gosh, Stig.
Well, until you learn, and once you learn, that could stop to once a month just to remind you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Culture Casino with a sticker. I can't see it, but I'm guessing it's a unicorn. The happy unicorn. I'm guessing. I'm right in the chat. I think I tried my best to think about, okay, she's 11-year-old girl. She was told you are going to marry the prince and then become a queen someday by her father. Mm-hmm. And then it gets ripped away from her with no explanation. Ned should have sat his dang kids down and been like, look, this is what's happening. You're not going to see Joffrey anymore. And we are leaving this place. I'm getting you girls on a boat and out of here before I do anything else. Nope.
Yes.
Now, Parent of the Year, Ned.
He should have done what Arnold Schwarzenegger does in Kindergarten Cop. There is no bathroom.
There's no bathroom break.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's just this is what's happening. You're gonna be the queen. Here, do a lot of embroidery and be a pretty lady and dance. That was all the hell they told her to do.
Right.
And even all the stuff that Arya is learning, their nan was a great nan. Her job was to treat them to be little ladies and be their little finishing school.
Right. Well, that's what's her name? That's the one with Sansa and Arya.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with an M.
Oh, not Nan. No. I'm sorry. The Septa Mordain. My fault.
Thank you.
My fault.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
But you're right. That's all women were taught then. At least in the North, you were taught you're a lady. You're going to marry, just like Ned tells Arya, you're going to marry a lord, and then your kids will become lords and kings and princesses.
To be fair though, Sansa is basically an example of the participation trophy culture.
Yes.
That is true.
It is. You're going to grow up and you're going to be a princess.
Right.
Yeah. And they lose their shit and just
when they don't get their way.
Yeah.
You know what she reminds me of? Every time I hear Sansa talking, I think of like, I want a golden goose now, Daddy.
Oh yes.
Veruca Salt. That's what I get. Like, I feel like Sansa was created from George watching Willy Wonka one day and be like, "Ooh, that would be a good one," you know? Because as the Time Prophet says, he steals everything. Time Prophet.
He was probably watching BuzzFeed.
Right.
Oh gosh.
Time Prophet, from something you wrote a long way back. Tolkien. Okay, George was influenced by Tolkien. What I'm saying is, if George came first and wrote this saga and actually finished it, let's just say, I think Tolkien would have thought this was a great piece of work. I understand that that's kind of one of those, like, you can't calculate if that really would happen, but I feel like George's writing is on par with Tolkien, just almost a different thing altogether, except for some fantasy stuff.
Martin is a better writer. Tolkien is a better world builder.
Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, I mean, look at the Silmarillion. Holy crap, he goes into great detail.
Yeah, Martin has not made languages. Tolkien made a bunch of languages from scratch, which is insane.
Martin made a few Dothraki words, and then when the show came up, a linguist, actually created those languages, like Valerian, High Valeria. He just took a couple of the words that George used and created the language. Tolkien, like you just said, he created all these different types of languages and spoke them fluently.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
He was such a total nerd, but a nerd with languages.
Yeah, and if you look at how Martin foreshadows things, links everything together, and every action has a consequence for all the characters, right?
Right.
Tolkien doesn't have that. I mean, it's revealed that Aragorn is the Lost King the first time you see him, right? There's absolutely no real surprises.
Yeah.
Right. Pretty much everything's given to you except.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say that. Well, this the Lord of the Rings. I'm not Lord of the Rings. Game of Thrones. All this. It's written like a mystery. Tolkien was writing it like it was a history book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. I would definitely agree with that. I think George's ability also to write in the first person, but different first person every chapter.
Well, it's third person limited, because the chapters don't refer to the person as I, right? It's always Sansa or John. That means third person.
Yeah, but it's a point of view.
Yeah.
Well, but you're inside their heads.
Yeah.
You actually hear their thoughts. So wouldn't that be point of view character?
No, but because it's not written as I opened the door and saw the white, right? It's John opened the door and saw the white.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what? I never noticed that, man. Wow, he's like it's a mixture of third and first. What did you call it?
Third person limited, because it's only one person per chapter, right? If it's regular third person, you'd have like the Lord of the Rings, Mary was afraid of this creature, but Pippin felt he wasn't, right? So you have two POVs. That's regular third person. Limited is only to one.
Okay. And see, Rennie, I was right. Thank you.
You're muted, Sporky.
Oh no, Sporking, you're muted.
Only way to shut me up. I was saying thank you, Rennie. I knew it. The one thing I can say, Stig, is I disagree a little bit. I do understand what you're saying, because I don't think I've ever actually noticed that. But to be in the head of the character speaking as themselves, to me, that's more like a first person once removed.
No, because in any book you have that. I mean, every time Frodo is thinking about something, it's the same way. It's written the same way. He's thinking about something, remembering the Shire, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Even though Sam does the same thing in the same chapter.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's third person.
Limited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Only one third person POV per chapter. while others
I do have to
have
say,
killed
by
person.
doing it that way, though.
Yeah. Oh,
No,
yeah. It's
but by
brilliant.
doing it, am I lagging a little bit because I keep cutting you off?
No, it's a brilliant way of writing, and it's
Right.
also very damn difficult, which is
Right, because he's
one
getting
of
the
the
head of an 11-year-old girl.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got to make sure that they're consistent between chapters.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he has admitted that in later books, Linda and Elio, the people that wrote The World of Ice and Fire, I had to look at the book, World of Ice and Fire with George, he would actually call Elio and be like, or Elio, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but he would call him and say, you know, does Lord Derry have blue eyes? Have I ever mentioned his eyes? Oh yeah, chapter this paragraph you did. So George started using them as like editors in a way, because they took all his information, like Westeros.org, what we're using as a summary was going to be a game at first. And they asked George if they can make the game. George said yes. They took everything, every information you could think about of every character George has ever written about, and they cataloged it. So when George has a forgetful moment, he calls them because they cataloged everything. And they never ended up making the game on that. It turned out to be like a fandom forum type thing, but just a fun fact, people.
There we are.
I thought I'd try. Anything else with this chapter before we move to the next? I think we covered.
We already see that even though they come to Rob's aid, there's still a lot of distrust even in the north, which is important. It's not like they're they may follow the same banner, but they're only unified to a point.
Right. Pretty much the strength of the Starks keeps them unified. And if that strength looks like it's faltering, you're starting to see people wanting to pounce on that.
Yeah.
You know, and I could understand. I mean, some of these lords are probably in their 30s, late 20s, 40s, even, not wanting to take orders from a 15-year-old boy, you know, green kid that's never been to war. I can understand that.
Yeah, I mean, who would? You know?
Right. But he handles it. He handles it.
Well, does he?
Well, he doesn't handle one of them.
It remains to be seen.
Yeah, right. Yes. At the moment, looks like he got it under control.
He's off to a good start.
He is. And we'll leave it at that. Bran says goodbye to his brother, starting to head south. And Bran reflects on everyone that's gone south has not returned. And if they did return, it was their bones. Foreshadowing. Not good, right? Starks do not do well in the south. All right. So we're going on to our last chapter, which is Dany 6.
Starks get boned in the south.
Oh my gosh.
That is so great. Oh man, I love that. And Rennie, you're right. Not a Sansa fan either. I can't stand her. All right. So let us begin. And I'm going to probably jump around a little bit because this is one of those chapters where I feel like there's a lot of expedition. All right. After taking his pleasure, Khal Drogo arises from the sleeping mat and declares that the stallion who mounts the world has no need of an iron chair. Daenerys reminds him that it is prophesied that the stallion will ride to the end of the earth. But Drogo responds that the earth ends at the Black Salt Sea, which no horse can drink. Dany tries to explain ships to him, but Drogo is not interested and leaves to go hunting. She can only hope that if his hunting goes well, he might return in a more receptive mood. Maybe he will even kill Harakar, the white lion of the plains, although he is brave even by Dothraki standards. Like all his people, Drogo still fears the sea. I like how they bring up a white lion. Dany sends for Ser Jorah. He arrives. pleads for help convincing her husband. Ser Jorah explains that Drago has never seen the Seven Kingdoms and probably thinks of them as a small island like Lys or Loroth. The riches of the East seem a lot more tempting. He continues that she should have patience and not make her brother's mistake. Ser Jorah promises that eventually they will go home. The word home that eventually they will, the word home saddened her when she remembers that the Seven Kingdoms are a place she has never seen either. She wonders if the Dosh Khaleen is her future. In an attempt to cheer her up, Ser Jorah asks if she would like to visit the Western Market, where a great caravan has just arrived and may carry a letter from Magistrate Illyrio. Dany likes this idea since it will be nice to see the treasures, to hear the sounds of Valyrian language, and since Drago is gone, to travel in a litter. She does not want to appear weak in front of her husband by not riding a horse. Dany finds the market quiet compared to the bazaar of the free cities. The caravans come from east and west, not so much to sell to the Dothraki as to trade with each other. The Dothraki do not fully understand the concept of buying and selling, but that merchants are welcome as long as they do not disturb the peace or profane the mother of the mountain and give the traditional gift to the Dosh Khaleen. Dany enjoys the wonders and magic of Eastern markets with its strange food and people, but the Western markets remind her of home. She tells Ser Jorah about how she loved to play in the bazaar of the free cities when she was a little girl, even though they seldom had the money to buy anything. She especially remembers the honey finger cakes of Tyros. When she asks if they have cakes such as that in the Seven Kingdoms, Jorah is unable to say. Jorah asks her to pardon, to seek out the merchant captain to ask about the letter from Illyrio. But when Dany offers to join him, he insists that she goes alone. Dany finds this curious and wonders if the knight plans to find a prostitute. Dany wanders joyfully around for half the morning, even laughing for the first time since her brother's death. As per Dothraki custom, she receives several items as gifts, reciprocates with medallions from her belt. Turns a corner, a merchant offers her a thimble of wine. Dany accepts a taste of the wine, speaking in Valyrian, which surprises the merchant until Daria, or whatever her name is, steps up to declare all Dany's titles. The merchant immediately insists that the wine he gave her wasn't worth a princess and offers her a casket of his finest. Dany graciously accepts the cask, knowing that Drago has acquired a taste of fine wine. Dany is ordering the cask taken back to the litter. Ser Jorah appears and states he wants a taste of the wine. The wine merchant resists, insisting that Ser Jorah is not fit for such wine, but relents and pours 2 cups when Ser Jorah threatens him. Then Ser Jorah orders the merchant to drink. Instead, the merchant throws the cask at Dany and flees. Ser Jorah pushes Dany out of the way, and Dora just barely catches it before it falls on her pregnant belly. Jago uses his whip and gets the guy. The ruckus brings dozen caravan guards and merchant captains running. The merchant captains seem to guess what has happened. He orders the merchants taken away to await Khal Drogo and gives the merchant goods to Dany as a gift. Dany asks Ser Jorah how he knew, but the knight insists that it only suspected because the letter from the magistrate said he was fearful. As they return, Dany notes that her baby is moving restlessly and comforts him with words about being the blood of the dragon. When they're back to the Hollow, Dany orders the rest to leave with Ser Jorah. The knight explains that the letter from the magistrate brings news that the usurper has offered lands and lordship to anyone that kills Dany and her child or her brother. Dany observes with a laughing sob that the usurper owes Drago a lordship for killing Viserys. But Dany thinks the usurper has woken the dragon, looks over to her dragon, and commands Ser Jorah to light a brazier despite the heat, then asks him to leave. Then she pushes away scrolls, wondering if it would destroy them. Nothing happens. Dany is very disappointed, but wonders even if to herself if she would was expecting, or what was she expecting. And Drago returns with the carcass of that lion as the stars came out. After he has told her that he will make her a cloak of the skin, Dany tells him what happened. Drago becomes very quiet as Ser Jorah tells him that this will not be the last attempt. For their role in saving his Khaleesi, Drago gives Ser Jorah and Jago their choice of his horses. Drago also proclaims a gift for his unborn son Rhaego, the 7 kingdoms of Westeros. Drago then swears to the Mother Mountain that he will take his Khalasar west, ride the wooden horses to Westeros, kill the men in their iron suits, tear down their stone houses. He vows to rape their women, take their children as slaves, and to bring their broken gods back to Vastar Thrak to bow beneath the Mother of the Mountains. 2 days later, leaves Vastar Thrak, headed southwest. The wine cellar is forced to run naked, chained behind Dany Silver. No harm will come to the man so long as he keeps him. Boom. Glad people are still here. Thank you. So, once again, I'm going to take a drink. You guys are both
okay. We're supposed to talk. Sorry. Well, I think
is golden.
We talked a little bit about this earlier, I think, didn't we? That this was probably not the most exciting chapter of the 2. I mean, the other ones were so good. And I was almost at the point, like, enough already with going through the friggin' marketplace. Just die or let's move on. But if I'm correct, didn't Jorah kind of conveniently go somewhere for a little bit without giving anything away? But that was kind of a clue, wasn't it? Wasn't there a clue in this chapter?
Why? Yes, I could say that. Yes. Why did he insist on going by himself?
Like, no, I'm fine. Yeah, you just go on and shop, little lady.
And Dany,
no worries.
Dany, well, but even Dany realizes it. Yeah, Dany realizes it and thinks he might want to go to a brothel and is embarrassed to say that.
Yeah, but that's, of course, from her point of view. It's like, oh, he just, wants to go see a hooker. No problem.
Was I robotic again? They're all saying robotic stuff. Careful, we're heading into speak and spell territory. Oh man.
Oh no.
Sorry guys. I hope you could hear it. So we start this off. Dany, some things I wonder about George, like how they just finished having sex and he talks about how Drogo's dong looks. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need that, but he's very descriptive. We'll just say that. And Dany, you could tell, I don't know if you got this from the reading, that Dany has brought this up. This isn't the first time she brought up taking Westeros for them, since Viserys has died. So it must have been some time has passed, because it seems like she's brought this up multiple times and he's kind of sick of hearing it. What do you think?
I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
I did catch the way they said that she hadn't smiled since Viserys died. So maybe she wasn't as cold as she thought toward his death.
Right.
Drogo was tired of her nagging.
Right.
So he went to kill something. Went hunting.
He did. Yeah, he went to kill a white lion.
Yep.
I find that.
He did it because Daenerys is white. And he wants to pretend Daenerys is the lion when he kills the lion.
I don't know about that, but that's kind of cool. So now Dany and Ser Jorah in the market. He splits off to go get this letter or go get laid. She thinks people are giving her gifts. She's giving them medallions from her belt. She's having the time of her life. And then she meets this wine merchant. Now, this is the part that gets me. The wine merchant hands her the thimble of wine. It's not till he hears who she is, where he tries to give her this casket that's must be poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
Did he know already? I mean, this guy was definitely sent, but did he know already it was Dany and he's playing that I didn't know who she was type of game? Or did he not realize this was her and like the draw, I'm going to kill her?
She does stand out in that crowd.
Yes.
She has the Targaryen hair and all that, so it's
purple eyes.
Yeah. There's no question who she is. If she's with Dothraki, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Rennie. Robot Scott meme or vid. Oh man, maybe a robotic Scott can sell sporkaroos. I don't know. Thanks for giving Tommy and culture an idea. Sorry about that. The ADD in me. Do you think, okay, so this is what I meant to ask. Like, do you think they sent, because the birds have left. I remember Vara saying those birds have already left. So I'm guessing multiple people got a contract to kill her. Not just one, because how were they going to know that she was going to end up at this bazaar, at this market?
Yeah, and we know from earlier chapters, from one of the Ned chapters, that Littlefinger managed to convince King Robert not to use the Faceless Men. Right. I think if they had used the Faceless Men, she'd be dead.
She'd already be dead. Yeah, he said it was too pricey. Right.
Yeah.
But
good point. Yeah.
How many do you like? You think Viserys is paranoid. There's people behind us. They're following us. We have to move city to city. All the time, Dany moving in fear, and yet that never. Robert never sent anybody after them. But once he dies, there are now all these people. It must be that have, if you see her, you kill her, you have a lordship.
Yeah, but then again,
I used to read this thinking like,
how long till news arrives of Robert being dead? Because nobody's gonna take that contract if the contract giver is dead.
Good point.
Oh no, I understand that. What I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is that, like, this guy must have got the letter, right? And I always read it as he was waiting for Dany to poison her. And this time when I read through it, I realized it was more of a happenstance. Like, he didn't realize she was going to be there, right? There's no way this wine seller, is like, oh, I know she's going to be at this market on this day. I'll kill her then. Like, so how many other random people out there have a kill order for Dany at this moment? That's what I meant. Like, I always read it as it was a planned thing. It was more of like oh my God, she, I got this offer. If I kill her, I'll get a lordship. I'm taking her out.
Yeah. And that's why he would have had that separate cask, because of course he would have wanted to keep it separate, because you don't want to randomly poison your customers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he still had that cask there though. So he's been dragging it with him.
Oh yeah. Right. He's ready for it. Yeah. But
right. Yes.
It wasn't like premeditated, the circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. It was more like, if I ever see her, she's getting this.
Yeah.
And I never picked that up when I read that before. It wasn't until this time I was like, oh my God, he actually, this wasn't a planned thing. And this dude just threw away his life, And
imagine the guy though, as an assassin, sneaking around with a barrel on his back.
Waiting for the perfect moment.
Stealthily climbing through windows and stuff with that barrel.
Oh my gosh. Great.
He actually had the barrel on his back, outside their tent, and realized she's going to the market, and he ran there ahead of them. That's what happened.
The guy's really, really fit.
Yeah, he really is. He really is. He's made for long distance.
Yeah, and he's a barrel of laughs.
Oh
no. Why?
He'll blow her away with He'll blow her away with both barrels.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you're on fire.
Fire, baby, you're a firework.
And one thing you could also say is that Robert sending, having Varys send these letters out, he probably never would have gotten attacked, by Drago, or the idea of Drago wanting to attack Westeros if they just listened to Ned and left her alone. Just left her alone. So,
That's
beyond
right.
the grave, right? Beyond the grave, Robert is still screwing up as king.
He can't even die right.
Right. Murdering children doesn't strike me as high on Robert's list of priorities. Yeah, but he really hates Targaryens.
Yeah.
And when Robert gets inflamed and angry, he just reacts. And Varys accepted that and went with it. Now, I don't think the letter was telling, like, I almost think the letter was telling him she's going to be killed soon. Like they're out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a letter. Now, this is me assuming that because I can't remember, but I don't think it was a letter from what's his name? Illyrio. I don't think it was a letter from him canceling the hit. I think it was a letter from him telling him the hit would happen. Ser Jorah made up his mind in that moment. I'm on Team Dany. Like, he could have won his lordship and gotten back to Westeros, but he decided, I believe in this girl. What do you guys think that's true?
Yeah. I think he just weighed his options and figured, hey, shit, I know this girl well, I like her, and he didn't want her dead. It's also important to remember that when Robert wants to kill Targaryens, he doesn't even see that they're children.
Right.
All he sees is Targaryen.
He made that comment, right, Stig, during the war when Aegon and the daughter were brought in front of him.
Yes. And he apparently didn't seem to give 0 Fs when the mountain killed all those babies.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. That exactly.
Yeah.
Like, Ned was furious, and Robert says, "All I see is dead Targaryens." I think that's exactly what he says. What's up,
okay.
Adam?
The names maybe eluded me there.
Yeah. Rennie says Robert forgets he is part Targaryen. I know. I always find that funny. He hates them, even though he's, a quarter Targaryen.
Which is
so what do you guys think? Do you think can you tell me this? Find out what that letter was. Was it on or off murder letter? Was it a letter telling him that she was going to be killed, or a letter telling him to stop it? I always assumed it was a letter telling him she's going to be killed, and he decides to stop it.
Yeah, I think it's just being informed of what happened at the small council meeting.
Yeah,
that's pretty much. I think a certain someone that was there sent it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the memes is right. I think he fell for her. He's in love with her. And it's funny because the Jorah in the show looks nothing like the Jorah artist rendition.
Isn't it interesting that the reason why he is there, his exile, is because he fell in love with a woman? And it wouldn't surprise me if he gets exiled for another woman later. I don't know.
Right. You never know.
But dude, isn't he like, she's friggin' 13, 14 years old. How old is this man?
She's a woman.
He's well into his 40s, I think.
Yeah, he's up there. He's a widower, and then he also had a wife that left him. So I mean, like, he has to be up there a bit. And I always
he would have been on Epstein's Island then.
Oh God, yeah. Him and Bill would have been getting back rubs.
Gross.
Yeah, right. But in this world, a woman at 13 is marriage age. Even in our own history, 13 is marriage age.
Yeah.
Still in some countries.
Yeah, it's still off-putting, but
yes.
That was normal back then. So it's
well, that's true.
I'm
sorry, Steve.
I would have thought it was off-putting if I lived back there those times as well.
Yeah,
it's still way too young.
No, it is, but you always wonder if it's. Yeah, it is.
I mean,
but people only live for like 50, 40, you know, so
But by the time she's 20, he'll be senile.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
well, back then, though, by the time she's 20, she would have died in childbirth, right?
Yeah, at least, yeah. She had
having
like
her sixth kid.
Yeah, she had like an 80% chance of death. What I find funny though is that the Jorah in the show, yes, he's much older than Emilia Clarke, but he's not a bad looking dude. The Jorah in the books is like, you know, he's bald like me, so all bald up here. You know, he has hair on the side, and then the dude is just like a bear covered in hair. And like, do you really think you got a chance with a queen? Come on, bro. Come on.
Well, you know, back then being hairy was a sign of manliness.
Yeah,
probably has a hell of a lot of chance.
Yeah, and then he is manly. I mean, I'd go for this, you know, mid 80s look, you know, 70s hair chic. I'm too old to shave anything. Stop it.
Only quitters shave.
Oh my gosh.
With dual parent consent, you can get married at 12 in New Hampshire and 10 or 11 in Cali.
Yuck.
California.
Well, the idea was that once the girl started menstruating, then she could be married.
Yeah, it's
gross.
Children raising children. How did our species survive? Anything else in this one, or
fairly straightforward? It has a major event, I guess. Some exposition, some more information about the Dothraki. Other than that, it's like a little journey chapter with an event, I think.
Now, as a reader, as opposed to the TV show, are we supposed to like Dany in the books? Because in the TV show, I think they made us like her, but I think that she's just kind of weird and creepy in this.
I don't like her in the books. I don't like her on the show.
I liked her more in the books than I did on the show. I think Emilia Clarke did it. I think Emilia Clarke did a great job. I really do. I think in the books, though, when you see an internal battle, when Dany finds out the history of her family, she doesn't want to repeat it. And she keeps reminding herself of that. That's why the show pissed me off so much.
If my little theory about the, you know, that funeral pyre thing, if that one is right, I don't think that wine would have been that dangerous. Just food for thought.
Yeah, I mean,
because other people.
No, because it would have been before. Wine. It would have been before that, though. She's not one yet.
Oh yeah, my bad, my bad.
Yeah, timing's off. But good idea, though. I mean, you know, they're like the Red Woman.
Which isn't a thing in this stream yet.
No, it's not. Red Woman, who's she? She has a pretty dress. Actually, she does in the show.
You're the Red Woman.
Oh, well.
I think.
Yes, I know I am. Thank you for doxing me, Stig.
It's the rose.
I like this one.
Oh.
Plus Jorah. Kissed by a rose on the lips. Plus Jorah has proven he's a simp for a pretty woman. It's the whole reason he needed money for dealing slaves, right? I mean, the whole reason he's there.
Yeah,
damn high powers.
That late, my wife is so demanding. I have to sell people.
I know. I know.
That says a lot about the wife.
Talk about a nag.
I mean, and I'm sorry. This is medieval times. I mean, Jorah, you got this right here. You know, you don't have to go out selling. You just, you know, go in the kitchen or something. This, I'm not saying now. That would be wrong.
Yeah. I mean,
but back then,
just get her some flowers or something, or some chocolates. You don't have to get her slaves.
Oh, he wasn't getting her slaves. He was selling them to get her chocolates and stuff like that.
Oh, you're right. That was, to keep her happy. Yeah.
Have we heard that yet? Have we learned that yet? Oof, that better be damn good chocolate.
We've talked about this, I think.
Okay, I want to make sure, even though it comes up in this book, though, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, his wife dies, and then you know, he marries a Hightower, and she comes from Old Town, and Old Town's Richie, And she comes up to Bear Island and judges. And what does he do instead of telling her, well, this is your life now? He bends the knee.
No wonder his dad hates his guts. I would have beaten the shite out of him if he was my son.
Well, he was supposed to take the black, and he fled with his wife. So his father, because he's an honorable man, took his place. I'd be pissed too. You know?
Unless his wife was a nag and he just wanted to get away from her.
That could be it. That could be it.
Yeah.
Hold on. Right here.
I'm anti-nag.
Yeah. You can't be a nag. Nags suck. So this is, tell me if I'm robotic. I can't see you guys, so just let me know. This is George's Not a Blog. This is kind of George still, blogging. He has his own website where he does this, or a part of a website. And it just pissed me off. I heard this on Nerdrotic today before we got on. I was watching his stream. He's a small channel. I don't know if you guys know of him, but if you throw the poor guy a sub. But he says, I'm back in my fortress of solitude again. Back in the mountain cabin. I returned from Santa Fe for a short visit and to spend some time with Paris, deal with some local business that had piled up during my months away, and of course, fulfilling duties to Con Zealand, the virtual World Con. So he promised us that he'd be locked up, in his fortress till the books were done. And he did the Hugo Awards. He does, he's gone back to Santa Fe. And I understand this isn't his whole life.
He's probably on the contract for the Hugo Awards.
Yeah, but don't tell us. I don't.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Well, we'd see him at the Hugo Awards anyway.
I get that. I just feel like, you know what, George? It's like an excuse going on. Moving ahead of winter.
But I mean, the guy is in his 70s. I mean, he should be allowed to live a little too.
Look, he earned it. I get that. Yeah, I really do.
But it's
I don't need to hear it.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't need to tell us, oh, I went on this nice weekend to Santa Fe. We wouldn't have known about that. And we wouldn't know about, I'm just saying, I think the boy, I understand what you're saying, Stig, but can he get an ounce of prudence? Because at this point, he knows that every time he goes and blogs and says how he's doing everything but finishing the frickin' book, he knows how it upsets and antagonizes the fans, and he's choosing to do so.
Well, the fans who are being antagonized by it also chooses to read it and look for it.
Yeah, but I mean, Stig, it's like putting crack in front of an addict that's jonesing. Like, everybody hangs on something he writes. Like, is he going, is George going to tell us the book
that's not his fault.
Yeah, but
People are making far too big a deal about this than they need to. It's like they're overanalyzing every little quote.
Do you think he'll finish the series?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless he dies suddenly.
Yeah. I'm doing Jayne Theory. Jayne Theory putting it out in the ether. He's gonna finish the series.
Yeah.
But it's aggravating, man. Like, I don't.
But like I said, while you wait, there's thousands of fantasy series to read in the meantime.
I want this one.
It's not just one. So
I get
do
that,
something.
man. But
I mean, it's like not watching any movies until the next Batman movie, right?
Yeah, I guess I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying. I think, like I've told you before, how important this book series has been to me as a reader. I think that's why if I read books a lot before I read this series, I think I wouldn't care as much. But this is like my first crush when it comes to, the world of novels and fantasy and stuff like that. I read Lord of the Rings, but I liked it a lot. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't get the same feeling I got from reading these.
Yeah, I get that, but I mean, as soon as he says a single word, there's like 200 articles about it, and they say the words, and then there's all a bunch of blah blah blah. Fans are upset, blah blah blah, and it's not really helping if you really want the book and you're looking for stuff like this. because it's not going to make him write faster. It's not going to make the book pop out tomorrow. So if it's out of your control anyway, there's no reason to worry about it.
Yeah.
Because no matter what you do, you can't affect it.
That's true. But he can also choose. I think it's a two-way street. Yes, maybe we need to quit being so pissed off, but maybe he also needs to shut the fuck up. So I don't feel I'm sorry, I'm working. I don't know if I'm allowed to.
I'm already demonetized. Don't worry about it.
Okay, but for reals, I'm saying is the only reason why we are upset that the books are not coming out and he's fracking around telling us everything he's doing but writing the book is because he made a promise. We didn't ask for him to start A Song of Ice and Fire. We didn't ask for him to tell us it was going to be 7 books. And we, by golly, didn't ask for him to give us deadlines and keep changing them.
I think that's what upsets people the most, right, Teresa? It's like that New Zealand one was the one where I said, oh, he has to be close to being done. He has to be. So
because he would not say that if he wasn't after missing the 2016 deadline. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't have to. That's one thing, like in my line of business and in any business in the world, in life, in relationships, in friendships, you don't make promises that you aren't sure you're going to keep. So you don't make the promise. And that's the problem, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, but it could be that circumstances changes from that time till his new promised deadline, because he could have been almost finished, and then shit, I need to rewrite a bunch of stuff because there's a mistake in chapter 14, which will have ripple effects through all of the chapters. You can't foresee that.
Right.
There's all kinds of reasons why it delays, but still 11 years is way too long.
Yeah. And I think
take 11 years to write a damn book.
That should not take 11 years. And then this is a part, and it's going to be morbid. Get ready for morbid, Teresa.
Come on,
morbid. He has said, this is the other part that worries me. He has not done what Robert Jordan did for his fans. I mad respect for Robert Jordan. He knew he was going to die. He made arrangements that someone else could finish his book. Right. George has come out and explicitly said, if he doesn't write it, it's not getting done. That's the other thing.
It's so arrogant.
But not only is it, yeah. So that's also, I think, why I'm upset. I'm like, listen, dude, you're gonna be dead.
But who would you know? Write it anyways?
That's why we're getting mad, because he's fat and he's 70. Pardon me for being harsh. And if he even finishes this, do you think is he gonna be writing this when he's 90? I'm fine with him going off and being a happy man, but also I think he needs to be respectful to the fans and at least say, if I'm not going to finish it, someone else will.
And there are devoted fans that have been with him since day one, that have gone to conventions where no one knew who he was and sought him out. They created some type of, it's almost like, I think they might call it Brotherhood Without Banners, but he used to knight people into it. He was part of this. And then the show blew up. A lot of opportunity came. I understand that, but you almost have to remember, yes, you can have different ventures and do different things, but remember the one that's your bread and butter. And if you don't finish this, people they will turn on him. I won't hate the man because it's in the end, it's his thing to do. But I will be very disappointed that he rather not complete this contract he made with the fans. I'm going to start, and you're right, Teresa. He actually said, I'm going to do a trilogy. And then he decided to make it 7 books. And then he decided to say deadlines, not us. So but people can't get mad with us that we're a little upset by it.
Robert Jordan could have people finish the books because Robert Jordan writes differently.
No one can
he plans the book out, right? So he had planned the series out, right?
He's an architect.
Doesn't write George is, the gardener. He knows an ending in broad strokes. That's what he said. He doesn't know how to get there.
Real quick.
So he has nothing to give to the other, whoever has to take over, right?
Couple things real quick. Yeah, you're right. Real quick. Bear Nerd Fun. one of the original Fourth Waivers. Please give him a follow or a sub. Bear is one of the best ones out there. Good dude, will back you. If you're his brother, he will back you to the end of days. Tina says, and may I suggest the Dresden Files? I've heard of those. By Jim Butcher, my favorite urban fantasy series. And then last,
I read his. I think it's called Codex Aela. It's
Okay.
it was challenged by Brandon Sanderson to write a mix between Pokemon and the Roman Empire.
Oh wow!
So he wrote that series and it worked, really worked. 6 books.
I will have to check that out. And my partner in crime, Jayne Theory, she is working late. That's why this is the first one she's ever missed. So it's okay, Jayne. But she is listening, supporting the channel. And if you would like to support the channel, I hate doing this. If you would like to support the channel, feel free to become a member today. You pretty much, you'll pay me for, I don't know, hanging out with me, which you're already doing, but it would still be cool if you did it. And also just subscribe and like, and if you could share and comment, that'd be great too. This is, I feel like though, reading this, like, it's not him telling us it's like him giving us excuses, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. So if you guys want to check it out, it's the August 15th, addition to Not a Blog. And that's the name of it. Not a Blog. Just put Not a Blog GRRM in the search and you'll find it. August 15th. And he does end it with, I wonder if it is the same for other writers. Like he talks about how he sometimes writes great and other times he didn't, or is it just me? I wonder if I will ever figure out the secret of having a life and writing the books at the very same time. I certainly have not figured it out to date. For the
this is actually a good point, because he doesn't do anything while he writes.
Right.
And when he's doing other things, he certainly does not write. So it is one or the other with him.
Right.
Really.
And you're right. He's getting older. He finally, he's always had some success. He's been a workable writer for decades, but this made him rich. He can do whatever he wants and people want him. So I get that. But he says my life is at home on hold, and I am spending the days in Westeros with my pals Mel and Sam and Vic and Ty and that girl with no name over there in Bravo. So he's writing about Melisandre, which now I'm finding out, because he said there would be no new POVs. So I guess he's writing the second Melisandre POV. I'm not going to go into it, but that would only be her second one. Sam, Tarly, Victarion, and Tyrion, and then Arya. So that's what he's working on right now.
Yeah. Well, and I know I sound like I'm a horrible human being.
No, not at all.
But
you're terrible.
It's not a secret that I'm a writer. Or maybe it is, a nonfiction. But
I didn't know that.
Oh, well, okay.
That's
but
so
anyway.
Awesome.
Okay, well, I haven't actually published in a very, very long time because of other, I actually,
is your pen name Jane Austen?
Yes, that's my pen name, Jane Austen. But to make a very long story short, and I also ran a lot of online stuff and did articles and essays. I had my life, and then I would set my clock, like from Saturday morning from 7 to 7, and do nothing but write until I met my deadline. And then 7 o'clock came around, I met my deadline, and then I called up my friends, people in my life. It's like, okay, let's do something. You can discipline yourself. You can lock yourself up for 12 hours at a time even. But so I guess, I have done deadlines, and I know it's hard to write, but you discipline yourself and you psych yourself. Right. And so especially, and even more someone like him. Now, I'm also a little bit upset because I was thinking I'm going to read this book, and I started reading it. I'm like, no, I'm not. He may never finish it. And then he came out with what he said was going to happen in New Zealand. I said, okay, I'm going to start reading this series.
Oh, so you really you heard that he was going to
I heard he was
the date.
Yep. He said it was gonna happen, and it's like, okay, I gotta start now, and I'm gonna get the book because he said so. So that's where it's personal.
Yeah.
If it's, how many POV chapters will we have in book 6? It's probably 12.
Yeah, it's a lot,
Yeah.
man.
That's
I have to
actually
say
12.
this real quick.
That's actually 12 books.
Yeah, I sound petulant child. I sound like a spoiled brat. I really do. I've held off for 8 of the 9 years, almost 10 years now, always supporting George. It just seems like I just want to tell him, stop telling me why you're not finishing it, and just work and let me forget. And then one day I see that you are, the book's going to be released in November sometime. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like George, this is the problem that bothers me. George knows for a fact when he writes something on his Nana blog, it causes people to react. He understands this. No, he does. He's admitted it in interviews. So when he does something like this, to me, that's him trolling us. It's not him being like, I'm really sorry, guys. It's more like, this is my excuse. Deal with it. Real quick, the McClunky button is the like button. I'll explain it another night. It goes back to Star Wars. Go ahead.
Well, to be fair though, if you're seeing the blog post as trolling, and a lot of people do, right? And it does cause an uproar. You're forgetting that there's probably another half that really likes those updates and are not upset about it.
No, valid point. Like, thank you, George, for letting us know why you
George needs to
deadline again.
Yeah. George needs to, speak to all the fans, right?
Yeah, no, I get that, man. I get that, and I understand he might. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. No, don't say sorry.
Stig, I'm going to give an example of. I know Stig loves this series, the Twilight books. Now, there's a real sad story about there was something called Midnight Sun that she was writing, and she canceled it. There's a long story about why she canceled it. It was like 2009. We didn't hear anything, and then right when the COVID thing started, she just randomly put something like, "There's a countdown on my website," and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, this chick put the countdown. What is there a countdown for?" And everyone said, "There's only one thing we've been waiting for. It's Midnight Sun from Edward's point of view." And then when the clock went down, first her website crashed. And then when it came back up, because everyone checked, it had Midnight Sun, August 4th. She didn't tell us. So she didn't tell us until
what a great surprise.
And it was a magnificent surprise. That's how you do it, in my humble opinion.
To be fair, though, that one is an addition to an already finished series.
Doesn't matter. She didn't tell us. So there was no disappointment. There was no dangling a carrot in front of our faces. I'm saying she didn't bring it up again in 10 years. The next time she brought it up was when she said she was going to release it. That's my humble opinion of the way to do it.
And I agree with you, Teresa, but I do look, I'm not a hardo. I get that there's people in the fandom, a lot of people on YouTube that probably wouldn't want me on their live stream because they consider me negative, but that are okay with what George does and actually appreciate him giving us, how hard his life is and how hard it is to have a life and write. It aggravates me. That's all I'm saying. And to tell me not to look at a not a blog, like, oh, then just don't pay attention. Well, like, I'm sorry. He put something. I want to know if it's the announcement. I want to be like excited. I want to know, like, so it's a catch-22 with him, I guess. I don't know, but we're going to wrap it up. I just realized it's 9:30 and I have to be at work at 5 a.m. So,
dude,
yeah,
life comes first.
My eyes look shot. But you know what? George, I was here for my people tonight. I made the attempt to do a good show. Maybe it was 50-50, but still I was here. Write your book, brother. All right. Any last words on the chapters we read?
Oh.
I know. I jumped back to that.
I was like, I have to laugh. No, I was about to say, and we're not millionaires.
Yeah, we're not
That's the other thing.
millionaires.
Let me cry
Exactly.
for you while you're spending your millions. But
Though I
want to say before.
Teresa, I did just
Oh,
see someone put. Oh,
you're roboting, or I
go
can't
ahead.
hear you.
No,
Sorry.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
after. Go ahead.
I couldn't hear you. You were a robot. Okay. Well, and I guess I do want to make a point. Is we had a bit of a heated discussion here. I'm patting us all on the back, but guess what? We're all still friends, and we're all still gonna feel just the same way we felt about each other before we started arguing, because that's what grown-ups do. We can have different points of view. So there. I want to say thank you to my fellow panelists.
Thank you. You know what?
Could you repeat that? I was sharpening
I
my
appreciate
axe.
that.
Oh, what the hell? Is he teasing me?
I don't know.
I love it.
You'll find out.
Nah, every joke has about 10% truth in it anyways. Though I did see in the chat, I forgot who just said it. I think it might have, I don't remember. It might have been Brutal Morning Wood said you should change your name to Miss Martin Rants.
Well, usually I'm a muser.
Robot Scott, no. I am the robot. Yes. Start your memes. Start your vids. But let's wrap it up. Thank you guys. You're absolutely right. Like what I love about the Fandom Menace, and what people, and you guys don't even rep it, but what I love about people that it's just people that respect each other. Look, I don't want to hang out with people that agree with everything I agree with. Like that causes you to think. When you argue with people in debate, it causes you to think about your own perspective. And I appreciate that you guys are the same type of people. You know, there's too many people out there that don't.
Echo chambers make people dumber.
Yes.
Right. You know, and right now in the world we live in, a lot of people it's our way or no way. It will cancel you. And I just don't agree with that. I don't have to agree with what you're saying, but if I know that you're a good person and you have, you know, your character is good, well, then you have a right to think whatever you want, you know, like, but I enjoy people like Stig. Every time you defend George, you make me think about that.
Well,
instead of going down the dark hole of anger.
To be fair though, I'm not necessarily defending him because he has had 11 years. It's too long,
right?
You know, and anyone can see that. But what I'm trying to do is remind people you can do something in the meantime while you wait. Because if you're in the waiting room, you'll pick up a magazine,
right,
to make time pass faster. And who knows, maybe you'll find another terrific fantasy series that hooks you just as much. Right. And it's already finished, so you have all the 10 books or whatever right there.
Right. All right, you got a point. Get out there and read, people. So
I'm always right. It is known.
Well, yeah. I mean, you are Stannis Stig Kenobi Baratheon, first of his name. So, Stig, where can they find you?
Here, and
I love it. I love that
on Christie's channel on Saturdays for the movie talks. Sometimes I talk to Chris on. We have movie review talks. Kind of. We did the first Alien on Monday. We're doing Aliens next week. And sometimes I'm on OG Star Wars' channel talking about Star Wars. Spoiler: her channel is about Star Wars.
That's
pretty much it. And sometimes I upload stuff to my channel, which I did 3 times this week.
Nice.
Yeah, that's like
I didn't catch it. I didn't get a notification on any of those. I'll have to check them out.
It has Pooey Pooey, number 1 and 2.
Nice.
If you're wondering what that is, it'll take you 3 minutes to watch both.
Thank you, Stig. Miss Martin Muses.
Oh yes, I have also a little channel that I get to where I like to muse, and sometimes I suppose I do rant a little bit. Books, music, movies, whatever catches my interest of the day or what really ticks me off in the day. And yeah, I go around on live streams. You'll see me on Alora's as well. And, I just try to be a happy little flower. I try. So thank you for having me on.
Progress, not perfection.
Just a Time Prophets, the Top Gear thing. Stig is actually my first name. It's not a
Yep.
Top Gear reference.
Yep, he is Stig.
Kenobi,
He
though,
wasn't-
is a fake one.
I didn't even know the guy's name was Stig on that. Is that the European version? Because I think they have an American one too.
Yeah, it's a Top Gear one.
Okay.
Oh, there's a Top Gear character? I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure.
Called Steve?
Yeah, the Stig or something.
The Steve. Oh, interesting.
yeah.
The Wanderer.
Nice.
Yeah. Well,
Oh yeah, the Wanderer. Yeah, that's
Stig
true.
is actually my first name, so that's where it comes from.
Mhm.
And I'm not a hobbit, even though it sounds like a hobbit name.
It does.
Not all who wander are lost.
Exactly. So before we close out, thank you everybody. Christy wasn't here tonight, guys. According to Christy's getting really close to the monetization number. Her watch hours have been taken away from her. If you're going to bed soon or leaving for work, hit play all on her channel and just mute it and walk away if you have to. Let's get her monetized. Not because, like, look, it's monetization. I'm not going to become a millionaire. She's not going to become a millionaire, but it just means you made it to a certain level you were shooting for. Like I just feel blessed to be there. And I know Christy's a big part of that. And she's a big part of a lot of people getting there.
Yeah, and Christy needs money for milk.
Exactly.
Milk. Yep.
And money for chocolate. We women, we need money for our chocolate.
Yep. And she might get her snorting check too by the doctor, but that takes a lot of money.
Yeah, we need to snort.
Yeah. So she needs it. So please, guys, make sure you check her out.
She needs money to support her drug habit.
Yeah.
Sniffing glue, right?
Yeah, that glue. She can't kick it. Can't kick it. But thanks everyone who showed up tonight. The chat, you guys were awesome. I still find it crazy that usually when we're done, about 50 to 100 people watch these streams. I'm glad people are enjoying them. I'm really grateful to my panelists. Thank you guys. Hopefully Jayne, Christy, and maybe Tori will be here next week. So guys, thank you everybody. I'll see you Saturday after Rogue Entertainment on Stephen Walton's channel. We'll have The Dump about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's where we can really bitch. So until then, remember, freedom isn't free.